Hi and good morning, everybody, and welcome to my desk. So, this message is actually going out to the Grand Chief of Manitoba, Kyra Willson. So, if that's not you, you can go ahead and scroll along. Although, if you know her, go ahead and send this to her so she can get it. So, any of you that want to stay and listen, you're absolutely welcome to do that. And if not, well, hey, promote the video, kick it out, make sure to keep reposting it for me. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. So, in any event, Grand Chief Willson, I had actually sent you an email last week outlining my design for a self-sustaining greenhouse. And by doing this, I wanted you to implement it into northern Aboriginal communities for self-sustaining food. And having looked at the overall cost of actually building this project and me coming to put it together and do all the initial setup work that's going to be involved, as well as training somebody to know how to maintenance and keep my water system going, because that is a design that's mine. So there are no companies out there currently that are using this water system that I'm implementing in this greenhouse to make it self-sustaining. Essentially what it does is it takes rainwater and snow and it breaks it down and uses it for food, or for the water for the plants, making it completely self-sustaining, considering you also use solar power in which to power the lights and the timers and everything else that's needed within the greenhouse. Now, my greenhouse design is a 30 by 40 building that consists of a solar panel setup, battery backup, and solar powered pump. It's got 16 ballasts for various kind of plants and growth. It comes with tubing for the tanks. It comes with two 100-liter water tanks. It comes with water filter materials. Essentially, I've designed two filters that go into these tanks when water enters in order to filter it through and purify it for the plant use. So you're not getting any contaminants from rain and or snow water that you would be using. Just to give you a little idea, of what this would do for you. Essentially, my setup would operate as a full acre use of flat land, shall we say. It's not flat land because most of the setup actually is soilless. I'm utilizing vertical hydroponic towers within this system, and it actually allows you to grow a vast variety of fresh produce endlessly. As long as you're upkeeping the system, your filters, you're going to have to change them out once every 6 weeks, depending on how much water you're filtering through. But with a water testing kit, you will be able to tell what levels your water are at all the time. And of course, with this system, I would recommend at least doing testing twice a week, just to ensure that the quality is there for that 6-week period. Then you're going to change the materials within the filtration system itself and be able to continue using it. It's actually going to be quite simple to break down for a quick cleaning. It's going to take about an afternoon for you to break down the system, and then you can either take the water that's in the holding tank that's already filtered and put it into another container for the time being so that you can clean it all out, and then you can of course refilter that water if you choose to do so for contamination issues, and carry on from there. It's essentially a build, setup, and grow system. And like I said, with the 30 by 40 building that this greenhouse comes with for larger production, basically what it's going to allow you to do is it's going to allow you to grow enough produce to feed 1,200 people in your community. And And if you don't have 1,200 people in your community, but you're able to take the excess and sell it, you're going to make a profit. I've designed this specific system with the idea that the produce we are going to be selling back to the community is going to be done across the board. So essentially what I've done is I've averaged out the price of in the current market of all produce, and then basically averaged it out to a generic price. So if we utilize this system, we can actually afford to sell produce back to the population at $1.78 per pound. You're going to be able to provide pound packages to people in terms of potatoes, carrots, tomatoes, like put together a full package of everything you're growing in your greenhouse and ship it out for whatever it is per pound. It's really simple. It'll regenerate revenue for your community to be able to sustain the greenhouse economically and financially. So it'll allow you the opportunity to be able to provide jobs as well as food to your community. Now, Miss Willson, and you'll forgive me because I don't know if it's Miss or Mrs., so I'll go with Miss. I'm just gonna to break it down for you a little bit here. On average, each person consumes roughly 730 pounds of produce per year. So to feed 300 people, you need 219,000 pounds of fresh produce. With a greenhouse like this, you can grow that year round. My greenhouse will actually kick you out at 300,000 pounds annually. So do the math on what you can produce and what you can bring in terms of revenue for your community. I've also done the numbers, and I'm going to be upfront with everybody on this. If we are going into fruit production, basically I'm going to say that here in Canada, we are going to want to use a dwarf style tree no matter what the fruit we produce. So if we want apples, oranges, plums, pears, peaches, go with a dwarf. And the building I've devised with this system will basically house anywhere from 200 to 500 dwarf trees, depending on the space needed in between each tree. So we actually, if you encompass this greenhouse with a 70 by 160 larger greenhouse with the idea of fruit production in mind, you can then grow fruit for your community as well. So realistically, I would say that you're going to want to look at investing anywhere in between 2 and 3 years for the fruit side of things. The vegetable production, on the other hand, will like almost instantaneous. From the time you set up to your first harvest should be anywhere in between 3 and 6 months, depending on, again, what you're growing, if you're keeping up with your conditions, if you're keeping up on your maintenance and everything like that. So that would give you the opportunity, and I've actually looked at this. Now, if you were going up north, for example, and you were looking at northern communities, which I kind of took a look at this morning in a little bit of a sort of rounding out the idea of where this idea would be best suited right now based upon population. So I've seen like there's 8 communities here right now. And you'll forgive me to the communities if I didn't get the name exactly correct. I mean, some of the pronunciations for me are a little bit tricky. So I'm sorry if I muddled up your name, and I 1,000 apologies. I definitely did not mean to do that. So with that in mind, you have Barren Land First Nations that has 380 people living on its reserve right now. You can feed those people with this system. You have Fox Lake Cree Nation that has 1,000 people living on its reserve. You could feed them. You have God's Lake First Nations that you can feed at 980 people. You have Manitoba Cree Nation, and again, I apologize if I didn't get the name right, that has a current population of 643 people, living on reserve. You have Northlands First Nation with 868 people. You have a little bit more, but I mean, add an extra couple pails. To Opipin na Paiwin Cree Nation. I'm so sorry to you guys. I butchered your name. I know I did. But in any event, their population base is 1,257 people. So, excuse me, they would be optimal. Along with Red Sucker Lake First Nations with 953 people living on their reserve, and Sissi Dene First Nations with 315 people living on their First Nations community. So, Chief, with these 8 communities and with the overall setup, okay, so with everything included, to have this greenhouse set up and running for you in your community, your total cost would be $80,446. If you took that, and again, I did a little math this morning because I figured, why not? Let's help some people out, shall we? So if we took that number and say, for example, we decided that we wanted those 8 communities that house under the 1,200, in and around the 1,200 person mark, just to see how it goes for those communities and to help them with food sustainability, I would say that your cost for those 8 communities to get this greenhouse and setup system is $643,235.68. 8 full communities provided with sustainable, fresh food. And the potential for growing herbs. Or if you lived in, say, Split Lake First Nations, which I've had the pleasure of being on in the past, then, you know, for somewhere like that, they might have a berry that they enjoy out there that they have, you can cross plant into buckets and actually grow year round. So I know you guys also have a grocery store, so how amazing would it be for your people to be able to buy their produce at $1.78 a pound, as opposed to whatever you're getting it for now, because we all know it's not that. And my design is basically to cut down and eliminate the need for expensive transport. It could, I mean, and I've designed this in every fashion. So I've put together a system that will do fruit trees. I've put together a system that will do fresh vegetation. I've put together a system that will do singular decks for the individual. And for the individual out there that wants to get in on this and wants a greenhouse for their deck, specifically designed and built for their deck, you're looking at about $2,500 for the setup. And considering that the average family of 3 every month spends anywhere from $270 plus on fresh produce, if you average that out over the term of the year, you're spending $3,000 on produce alone. So for the $2,500 setup in the beginning, you're winning. It's going to make you money because you're not running to the grocery store. And to you building developers out there, anybody that has an existing building in the city of Winnipeg that wishes to implement this greenhouse system into the excess space that you have, to help your tenants and maybe reduce the stress that they might have about paying for expensive rent and trying to eat every month, potentially to be a hero, just saying. So any of you developers or existing building owners out there, and I'm looking at you, quality management, and I'm also looking at you, Broad Street Properties, because we all know you build here in the city of Winnipeg. So if you were to utilize this system and purchase it to be able to help your tenants, it's a win-win because it's a self-sustaining system that will eventually allow you to generate revenue for your property company. So just putting that in there for anybody that wanted the little bit of extra information. So yeah, just to keep these little things in mind, especially if you are a developer or if you are looking at designing a project this year that is food sustainability, self-sustaining. The system is set up and designed to run and utilize the elements in which to keep it. The timers are put in place to keep the water flowing properly, to keep the lights going on and off as needed. For the deck people, there's going to be sort of a tarp design for over top of your greenhouse to prevent you from annoying your neighbors should the lights be should anybody be light sensitive, and we all know we have those people in our neighborhood as well, so we can keep that in mind. Yeah, so that is my presentation for you, Chief Kyra Willson. And I just want to thank you for taking a look at this. So with that cost breakdown for you, I would honestly ask you to reach out to me. And in the comment section, I will leave Trix Rabbit's email address, which is, of course, my online name. And you can absolutely reach out to me, and anybody that wants to utilize this system can reach out to me. And whether you want it for yourself or you want it for a family member, hey, who knows? So yeah, let's work together and make Manitoba the first in mainstream food sustainability and keeping everybody fed. All right, until next time, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and hit like and hit subscribe and hit keep going, and make sure to repost for me, okay? Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.